Good evening. I want to welcome you all to the Public Safety Committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 21st. We're in the Esther Howland Chamber. My name is Kate Toomey. I'm the chair. I'm joined by Vice Chair Morris Bergman to my right and Councilor Louis Ojeda to my left. We are being clerked by A.J. Pottle, Assistant City Clerk, and we're joined by Fire Chief Martin Dyer, Deputy Fire Chief Adam Roach, who both were very busy last night, and we had a very big fire. Thank you very much for you and for all the work that the men and women of the fire department did. It was really a big loss for that community, and you guys did a great job. And then we're also joined with the A-team, Deputy Police Chief Kevin Davenport, Deputy Chief Carl Supernor, and Deputy Chief Matt DeAndrea from the Police Department, and our Director of Emergency Management, Robert Conley. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. First, AJ, could you please call the roll?
Councilors Bergman.
Here.
Ojeda.
Here.
And Chairperson Councilor Toomey.
Here. 1A, virtual attendee call-in information pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 21 in order to ensure active public engagement. The City of Worcester currently allows for both in-person and remote participation at all City Council and Standing Committee meetings. To partake in the meeting, you may attend the meeting in person within the meeting location, follow the below link to join via Zoom, or dial the direct line as indicated. If you join a Zoom meeting by dialing in with a phone number, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. Public Safety Committee Zoom link, https://worcsterma.zoom.gov.com/J/16155478889. Public Safety Committee Zoom phone number +1 646-828-7666, and Public Safety Committee Zoom access code 16155478889. Approval of the minutes. 2A, order that the City Council Standing Committee of Public Safety hereby approves the minutes of the Public Safety Committee meeting on September 9th, 2005. AJ?
Councilors Bergman.
Yes.
Ojeda.
Yes.
And Chairperson Councilor Toomey.
Yes. 3A, communication of the City Manager of the Police Department. A, transmitting informational communication relative to quarterly report regarding the Worcester Police Department small unmanned aircraft system. Who's taking the lead on that one? Deputy Chief Davenport, thank you. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. And so, do you want to give a brief overview of the report?
Yes, to the chair and through the chair to the council, to the committee. The quarterly report regarding the deployments of the small unmanned aircraft system has been generated per policy 404. Since June 19th of this year, the drone team has been requested to assist 10 times. The first one was on June 19th. The drone team was requested by Lieutenant Joseph Scampini to assist the SWAT team during the execution of a search warrant. We provided overwatch during that execution. On June 20th, 2025, in the Tainter Beacon Street area, the drone team was requested by Sergeant Rob Molinari of the Detective Bureau to assist the crime gun intelligence unit with an article search of a small wooded area. There was a shooting a couple days prior to that, and we were searching for evidence in that area. On the third incident, it was June 23rd, in the Plantation Street area. The drone team was requested by Lieutenant Al Burns of the Operations Division. We were searching for a missing elderly individual. The subject was located and medical aid was rendered. Just for all clarity, the drone was not did not locate the elderly person, was found by another individual, but the drone was used during that period. On July 23rd, in the West Boylston Street area, the drone team was requested by Captain Chris Curtis to assist the SWAT team in the Operations Division during an incident involving a barricaded subject. Again, there we provided overwatch. This ended up being a swatting event, but it was basically, it actually turned out to be good training with using the drone during that time.
For the public's knowledge, could you please explain what a swatting event is?
Sure.
Thank you.
A swatting event is basically a hoax call that someone calls in that requires a large amount of police resources and emergency resources to the point where they give enough information that requires us to activate the SWAT team, and hence the name swatting.
Thank you.
On August 6th, in the Fremont Street area, the drone team was requested by Lieutenant John Bolsalt to assist the SWAT team Operations Division during an incident involving a barricaded subject. During this one, we did use a small drone to fly into the structure to provide intel, and the individual had already fled. On August 19th, in the Moreland Green Drive area, the drone team was requested by Captain Chris Curtis to assist the SWAT team and Operations Division during an incident involving another barricaded subject. The drone team provided overwatch. This person was taken into custody at the end of the incident. On August 21st and 22nd, in the Northeast Cutoff Street area, the drone team was requested by Lieutenant Joseph Scampini to assist the SWAT team during 2 days of training conducted for the Worcester Public Schools bus drivers and their staff. Essentially, they were presenting how the drone will be used when and if there's a time that someone was being held captive on a bus or hostage on a bus, how we would utilize a drone in getting into the bus, providing some type of overwatch or surveillance of that bus. September 6th, the Mechanic Street area, the drone team was in the area of a call for a box alarm for a 2-alarm fire, smoke on the roof. Officer Green did respond there, and he presented the capabilities of the drone to the fire department. He wanted to show them the thermal and the visual imaging purposes of it. On September 8th, the drone team attended a charity baseball game between the Worcester Police Department versus the Worcester Fire Department. The police department won that game.
Yes, I remember.
They made several flights.
Can you repeat that?
The Worcester Police Department won that game. Okay.
That was me.
They made several flights and talked about the drone program with those in attendance. It was essentially like a show and tell to provide familiarity and transparency for the community that was there. It's also for recruiting purposes. We have that type of tech that we use in the police department. We try to use it to recruit those individuals that are into that type of thing. And also just training time for the pilots, just to have hours on it.
Right.
On September 9th, in the Hitchcock Road area, the drone team was requested by Sergeant Terrence Cahill to assist the Operations Division, the gang unit, and the CGI unit, and the SWAT team in execution of a search warrant. 2 arrests were made, several firearms and drugs were recovered. During that time, the small drone was used to enter into the department and visually clear a number of areas. And that's what we have for our quarterly drone report.
Okay, thank you. I think it's pretty forward. Do you have any questions?
No, maybe a comment at the end.
Sure. Yep, do you have a question? Does anybody from the audience have a question? Please state your name and city or town of residence.
John Edward Keogh, Worcester, Massachusetts. So this drone report is presented in light of some recent commentary on an expanded version of the drone program that's been made by 2 of the members of this committee on recent
Actually,
city council.
This is a quarterly report that's been brought forward.
Yeah, I know, I
It's not
understand.
in response to that.
I didn't say that. I
Oh.
said in light of
Oh.
the fact that you made those comments. And so a really important part of oversight, which we have very little of in the city, we do happen to have the police here. I appreciate they come and present the report, is the public's need to know exactly what the drones are being used for, because the program originated out of some dishonesty from the city council, which of course I reported on. And the
What's your opinion?
it wasn't an opinion, it was a fact, which you did. You called me a liar back then, and you still haven't apologized for that. But I was the person who proved that there was 2 drones being bought, that the money was being switched out from the dog program to the drones, and Cloud City Drones was the company, which you all proved to be true. But the important thing is the use of the drone. Deputy Chief Davenport mentioned that several of these deployments were just Overwatch. And there really is no discernible way to tell how much value that offers to the police department in an actual active incident. Is someone monitoring it? How is that information being relayed? How is that information being used and utilized during an investigation? Is it valuable or not? Is there training that says it is? Is there information that proves it is? This is just a reading of the incidents that it was used. One of them being for the baseball game that the police won. Chief, gotta step up, man. But that's an important thing. How much did that cost? How much did the officers that were monitoring that cost? How much does that cost the city? Does that have real value or not in relation to training? How do you determine that? These are the kinds of questions the committee's job, since two members of the committee say they don't want any more oversight, it would be important for you to ask those questions. You both are on the record as saying you would vote against civilian review boards for more than 10 years.
We're talking
So,
about totally different
no, we're
things
not.
here. Yes,
Oversight is oversight. Your job and your responsibility is to ask these questions. And so it's really important that this committee dives into this because it would help the police. This is not an issue of them using it inappropriately. It's an issue of this committee doing its job to ask questions that provide the public insight into the use of technology. So I hope that those kind of questions would be presented to Deputy Chief Davenport, who I know has prepared himself to be able to answer these questions. So I hope that you would be ready to ask those questions, considering that's your job. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? AJ, is anyone on the line?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have one person raising their hand. Just sent a request to
Yes.
unmute.
Yes, hello, David Webb,
City
Olympia.
or town of residence?
I'm sorry, what?
City or town of residence, please?
Oh, absolutely. Hi, my name is David Webb. My town of residence is Olympia, Washington. I am a Part 107 certified commercial drone operator and thorn in the police department side. I'm Chair Toomey's biggest fan. First and foremost, thank you so much, Deputy Chief Davenport, for explaining to the public that the event on West Boylston Street was a swatting. I don't think your department has otherwise publicly admitted that it had been tricked yet. I'm glad you got the drone team some good practice, though, in that instance. Likewise, it is nice that the Worcester Police Department got results 3 out of the 10 times it used its drone last quarter. I think they should make sure that they are responsible with their current toys before letting them get new ones. So I was wondering if we are still going to receive the report requested by this committee in the past regarding use of other departments' drones. I'm asking because the chair requested it, but it doesn't seem to have ever actually materialized. So I'm wondering if the city is intentionally hiding this information or just bad with paperwork. Maybe I'm mistaken. It just seems like the chair of this committee never got the results she asked for, and that doesn't seem competent or transparent. Thank you.
Thank you for being so
You're very
concerned.
welcome.
Do you have anything to offer to
No.
Deputy Chief? Okay. I do think that there are some good questions that can be asked. I think certainly a little bit more data, but I don't think that's something that you're prepared to answer all of those questions that were brought forward at this point in time. So I would do a chairman's order, or can you do all of them?
Actually, in regard to the statements about why we're using them for Overwatch, why is it important that we use it for Overwatch, I can address that
Okay,
through the chair to the committee.
yep,
The purpose of Overwatch is, in tactical terms, means maintaining a protective observation position. 2, monitor threats or movement around the SWAT team, identify suspects, weapons, or hostages from above, warn the team about potential ambushes, escape attempts, or hazards, direct movements of the ground team more safely and effectively, how the drone performs over the Overwatch. We use it for live video. It goes back to the command post. The OIC, the officer in charge there, can use that information there to decide where he wants to deploy, whether it's personnel or equipment. It also has the thermal imaging that we can use that can detect heat signatures. It's useful in the dark and and through light cover. So just for mapping and reconnaissance purposes and setting up the perimeters, those things there are very important to the SWAT team providing Overwatch, and it can save lives. So that's why we use it for that.
so what does happen with the data Is
That data is recorded by whoever the pilot is for the drone. The sergeant does the auditing on the data, and that can be provided through that team whenever requested.
And that falls under the FOIA. If people wanted to request the drone footage, they could get that,
Correct.
as long as it wasn't an active investigation.
Correct.
Okay. I just want to be clear about that, because I think sometimes people think that they can just get it immediately.
Right.
That's not the case. And how long do we keep that data? What's the record retention?
If it's non-evidentiary, it's 30 days. If it's has to do with some type of evidence, then until the case is over.
Okay. Okay. Are you, would you be willing to come back with a report on those other questions, which we certainly can have AJ get the
Through the chair,
questions?
yes.
Yeah, okay. Then we'll do that through a chairman's order, AJ, get a report back on the other questions that were asked,
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sure thing.
because I want to make sure that you have the ability to answer them. So, yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if one of those questions was the cost per use. I think that's a fair question, but I also think it might be a complicated question because aren't you sometimes substituting the use of a drone for an actual person? So how would you compare the cost using technology versus the cost of having people there? Has that been looked at through the chair?
Through the chair to the council. That is a good point. It all depends on a number of circumstances. So is the officer already on duty, the pilot already on duty for that night or that day? If you're going to factor in the capital budget or how much the equipment costs for that year and kind of prorate it for that day, you're going to factor in that cost. That I'm not sure about. Then we have to look at, do we go into overtime hours? We'd have to do the math on that. So there's a number, like you said, number of factors we'd have to do to determine that.
And I think each instance is, I mean, you had some that actually were very beneficial for training purposes. And as you said, you have to have practice and training to be able to maintain the license to operate the drone as well. So, that to me sounds like a very useful use. And so, I have no issues with that. You have another question?
Yeah, if Madam Chair, if it's permissible, through the chair, and Deputy Chief may need to report back on this because I don't expect him to have the information readily available, but do you know where the amount of drones that are employed in similar size cities in New England versus what Worcester has? Is that something you can comment on now or something you could provide a report back at a later time?
Through the chair, I'll have to report back on that.
Because, Madam Chair, if you'd consider that
Yeah.
as a chairman's
So,
order.
similar sized cities in Massachusetts. Now, we're talking specifically utilizing
Just the number of
just
drones.
regular UAS drones, drones operated by an individual, not automatic.
However you want to characterize it, my interest is looking at Springfield, looking at Hartford, so maybe New England's a better world to look at. Springfield, Hartford, where am I missing that's similar size to Worcester? Manchester, perhaps? I'm just want to know, I mean, we don't have that many. So do other similar sized cities have less or do they have more?
So those would be manually operated drones specifically.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay, because there is a difference, and I want to take a minute to make sure that the public understands that there's a difference between manually operated drones and what was mentioned during the first commenter's discussion was the drone as first responder. By control, manually operated drones are an on-site human pilot. Drone as first responder is remote operator and automated system. The launch time is after the pilot arrives at the scene. And for a drone as first responder, instantly upon a specific 911 trigger. The flight range for manually operated drones is the visual line of sight, and for drone as first responders, it's beyond visual line of sight. The main advantage for manually operated drones is flexibility and simple to operate, and drones as first responders are speed, situational awareness, and efficiency. Use case, the manually operated drones are usually planned missions or scene support, and emergency first response, public safety for drone as first responder. Most of the drones as first responders can get to the locations within 2 minutes. And that's the difference, right? So if I missed anything, let me know.
To the chair, no, you did a great job.
And I think Springfield is starting, like within the next week, their drone as first responder program. I think, maybe, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I thought they were, and I think Boston might be doing it soon. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But thank you. Do you have any questions? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your response.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then, okay, so we're going to go to,
Madam Chair, on that item, were you going to make a recommendation?
yes, I was going to accept and file.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, we have, no, that's it. Okay. Communication to the city manager, fire department, transmitting informational communication relative to the residential use of fire blankets. Chief? Good evening. Good evening. So, go.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, the Worcester Fire Department does not recommend the use of fire blankets. We've had several incidents in the city in a relatively short period of time where residents have gotten seriously burned and injured by trying to put out their own fires in their houses. And that's what tends to happen when you have a fire blanket. You're getting too close to where the problem is at, and it's usually a panicky situation, and it's a dangerous situation where they're trying to actually fight that fire. So we really recommend that residents get out, stay out, call 911. And sometimes that delay in calling 911 does have a significant impact on the fire growth. So we'd really rather teach our residents to get out of the house safely, call 911, let us come and take care of it in a safe manner.
I filed this because I was seeing a plethora of ads for the fire blankets and, oh, this is great, you don't have to have, other things, this will take care of everything. And I was thinking that it seemed to be pretty dangerous myself, so that's why I wanted to have a response from you. And I think that it's really important that people are informed about the I know that our fire safety and prevention department's doing a lot of work getting out to people. Do you want to just give an update on what they do when they go out for a presentation?
So certainly. So the public education division, which is in a little bit of transition right now, but they try to get out to the elementary schools, 2 grades, and try to make an impact with each one of those grade levels that are appropriate at that level to teach them fire safety and tips to bring home to their parents. We respond to, I don't want to say complaints, to referrals from operations companies when maybe they go on a first responder or something and they find maybe an unsafe condition in the house or something that they think that a resident could be educated on, and we'll make contact with that resident and see if we can help out in some way, provide some life safety education to them. And we did also conduct a test when we too noticed the advertisements on the fire blankets, and so we did do some testing. We bought some off online and tested them in a burn building, and we were not happy with the results of those tests.
Buyer beware, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And was there just recently some recall on smoke detectors?
So there was, I believe it was the New York Times did an article on the heavy the top 10, I think, smoke detectors, out of the top 10, at least 5 of them were not UL listed off of Amazon.com. And we always recommend to make sure that you're purchasing rated smoke detectors. They have been tested by independent laboratories and are more reliable.
Do we have a list of those that we recommend, or?
We don't. What we do is we recommend that they look for the UL symbol
Okay.
on the back of the smoke detector to find that information.
Is there, so you mentioned that the department's in transition, so we're there was an opening, or we're,
Right. So there was an
Yeah.
opening, and just through our promotion process and bidding process, there's been a little bit of movement there.
okay, good. And don't you also go to like the senior center and
We-
other senior residences and?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. We visit the senior center. I know we did several events with Washington Heights and the neighborhood meetings over there after the fires. So we do the best job with the resources that we have. We'll visit spree days when we can do that, the neighborhood meetings if we're requested to.
So what would you like to see for an ideal, I should ask you to probably come back with a report, what you would like to see for an ideal program to be able to do everything you'd like to do?
So, Madam
On
Chair,
that.
we are actually working on developing a new proposal on
Great.
how that would look. So,
Always ahead of me.
yeah, so be prepared and on the lookout.
Good, I can't wait. Yeah, I think the thing that you said in the report too, is aside from installing and regularly maintain smoke alarms in the homes, practice safe cooking habits and never use water on grease fires, develop and routinely practice the home fire escape plan. And emergency management, that's very important that people have a plan, right? So,
A practiced plan.
practice plan, that's right. Not one that's just like, oh yeah, it's over there, we don't know what we're really doing. Do you have any questions, either of you?
That's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to the chief, I appreciate your comment regarding the fire blankets. It wouldn't be necessarily something I would have thought of, that getting close to the fire actually delays response to the fire itself. I would have thought that maybe that's an appropriate thing to do. Certainly, we're inundated with marketing that suggests that. So my question through the chair is similar to fire blankets, fire extinguishers. Just for the people that are listening and my own curiosity, if there's a fire that you feel could be put out with a fire extinguisher, do you approach the fire or do you call 911 and get out? Because some people do have fire extinguishers at home, just like they have fire blankets.
Through the chair to the counselor, the first action should always be to initiate 911 and have the fire department start a response. If you feel that you can safely hit the fire from a distance, you may give that a quick try. But if that's not immediately effective, then you should retreat and get out of the building. I think Chief Roach has an addition there.
Yeah, just as an addition through the chair to the counselor, a little bit of an intricacy with fire blankets is one, the proximity. So with a fire extinguisher, you have the reach of the extinguisher so you can keep a safe distance. Another intricacy of the fire blanket is when that blanket actually comes off what was burning, and whether it's fully extinguished or when you pull that blanket off, what are you exposing yourself or your apartment or your residents to? So without training and knowing the reaction of the burning fuel, you can find yourself in trouble with that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
That's a great question. I wonder if perhaps we might be able to pull together some social media, quick spots to put that out, especially since we've been all inundated with these ads, right? So
Sure.
through a chairman's order, that would be great. Counselor, did you have a question? No? Okay, that was great. Thank you so much. Now we have, I'm going to accept and file. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Transmitting information or communication relative to the Worcester Fire Department strategic plan as it relates to Emergency Services Consulting International Report, otherwise known as SC Report.
So, Madam Chair, I'm going to ask Chief Roach to address this question where he worked extremely hard and close with all the committees on this.
So Madam Chair, back in 2021 to 2024, We did have areas of opportunity presented to us and planned together with members of our department where we could improve the operation and not only the staffing, operation, safety of our department, and efficiency and effectiveness of our department. So I'm just going to go through some of those areas of opportunity that we've improved upon. And really, when we were presented with this report, we took a strong action to make sure that we prioritized what we thought were the most unsafe practices or the biggest deficiencies, the largest deficiencies we had at that time, and then we prioritized. And I'll add, we continue to work on this plan. While it says 2024, it's just the priorities of the plan were determined based on safety issues for the department. So one of the first areas was strengthening the leadership. In March of 2022, as a department in a city, we reestablished the position of deputy chief in the working group. So that's a deputy chief of operations. We transitioned the 2 deputy chiefs that work day shifts, basically 8 to 5, 2 assistant chiefs, and we have added the deputy chief to the working group as a shift commander. So that working group is the responsibility of that shift commander. Another area of opportunity was an improved staffing model. We created a plan to increase the daily shift staffing so that we have 4 members on every engine, with the intention of, at some point, having 4 members on every ladder and 7 members on the rescue, to have a shift complement of 100 members. Studies have shown that 4 members per apparatus are far more efficient and effective and much safer at a structure fire to effectively complete an operation. Enhanced incident management, what we found when we did this strategic plan is that we basically we have 4 working groups, just for information, and we had at least 4, if not 8 different ways of operating at an incident. What we did was go through the Blue Card command system, and we structured that to fit the City of Worcester Fire Department and developed the Worcester Fire Department command system. All of our officers are trained in the Worcester Fire Department command system, whether they're going to be permanent officers, temporary officers, or provisional officers. That before they actually ride in the front seat of a truck as an officer, they're trained in this command system. And it's taken a few years, but we're really seeing the fruits of that labor now, where we have one system throughout the department that everybody knows, and everybody knows how to react to it. Again, expanded staffing levels. At the lowest point in our staffing for the Worcester Fire Department, we were at 362 members, and our practice was to brown out fire trucks, which was basically we could close 3 fire trucks per shift. We've eliminated that practice by discontinuing brownouts, but also increasing our staffing complement. Our authorized staffing complement to 452 members, and that allows us to have what we call a float pool, and that allows us to have resources that aren't committed to a specific workplace, but can fill in where the gaps are so that we can complete implementation of staffing, but minimize the overtime it costs as well, because it does get expensive to backfill for all the benefit time. Establish a strong training culture is probably one of the most important recommendations or areas of improvement that we could have made. In what we did was institute a training committee who gave recommendations on what the firefighters or the line personnel, that committee, thought were very important trainings that we were maybe missing the gap on, basic things or sometimes more complex. We also have implemented the deputy chiefs in the positions, and they can, as oversight for their group, determine what they think, the deputy chiefs think, that maybe the gaps in their working groups are. We currently, just as a side note, we currently have 7 members down in Philadelphia doing a FSRI. It's basically a train-the-trainer for flow path and fire dynamics. And we had those people in the department last week and maybe 3 weeks prior to that to teach our members free of charge fire dynamics, how fire moves, in the effects our job, our work, ventilating windows, ventilating
Right.
roofs, lack of water to the seat of the fire, lack of quick water have on the fires we're fighting. So we've really, that's one of the most important, most important recommendations, and we've really taken a hold of that, and we're embracing it, and our members are embracing it. Modernization of policies and procedures was a recommendation. We had probably close to a dozen different manuals that we had policies, procedures. They contradicted each other. We had memos from years ago with chiefs that no longer with us. And so what we did, and Chief Courtney should get all the credit for this, to be honest. He went through about 2,000 or 3,000 pages, and we've contracted or purchased a policy management system called Lexipol, and that has, we basically have two documents, a policy manual and a procedure manual, and it's available either in print version, electronic version, right on your cell phone. So if there's a policy or procedure issue, even while on the fire truck, on the apparatus, we can bring it right up on the iPad. And so that was a tremendous
great.
amount of work.
Great use of technology.
Yeah. And then, and one of the last recommendations or areas of improvement was facility improvements. Obviously, we have an aging infrastructure. A lot of our stations are in poor condition, and we're right now making the steps to build a new South Division. And we're in we've finished the design phase of that, so we're expecting to break ground in the spring on that project. But also with that, we've, through the city and through John Odell and his group, installed HVAC systems in all the stations so that we have.
What were they? I didn't hear that.
HVAC system.
HVAC, okay.
We have mini splits, basically heater, air conditioning in the fire stations. Where in past years, we had, the firefighters would buy window units and no real consistency in the climate. We've also, through the help of the city manager's team and the budget team, have received $300,000 per year for the past couple of years in capital funds, which we're using to fix the problems that fix the small problems that become big problems, but also fix big problems. Currently underway, we have the paving of three front aprons of stations. We had an apparatus floor at Grove Street that was hazardous, and we've replaced that. So just several projects that we wouldn't necessarily have previously had funding for, and we're trying to put this at the forefront of how we operate going forward, to try and make small improvements on the 10 stations, and we have 12 buildings, 10 fire stations.
Yeah, I mean, government generally as a rule, whether it's Worcester, whether it's Boston, whether it's North Brookfield or East Oshkosh, we generally don't do maintenance very well, whether it's the schools or municipal, right?
Yeah.
And I think that this administration has really taken a good look at that. I think that you've, been very forward-thinking and recognizing that, you have to, not only with that, but also with the purchasing of equipment, and our trucks, and having those plans in place to continue to move forward and constantly not getting to the point where, when I first got on the city council, I was being brought around fire stations, and we have at least 3 rolls of duct tape on that step so that, we can keep that together.
To the chair, to your point,
Yeah.
we just did the numbers the other day, and I think when Chief Dyer came in 2017, or around 2014, the average age of our apparatus was over 15 years. And currently, the average age is, I think we did just under 6 years.
That's great.
Which
That's huge.
is a huge step forward.
It's huge. And also, maintenance-wise, how are we doing on that for maintenance for?
To the chair, it's still a struggle. The new apparatus, while it's new, is not as well manufactured as.
Right, and that's a national issue.
That is a national issue.
It's not a
that,
bid issue, it's not, or anything like that,
It is a
right?
national issue that is being dealt with at a national level, but also felt at a national level by departments and municipalities.
Are there any lawsuits based on that?
I don't, I'm,
'Cause I
to
would
the
think
chair,
that-
I don't know if there are currently lawsuits, but I anticipate them coming.
I'm sure. Because it's, you know, I mean, you're selling something, and if it's breaking, what was it, 1,500 miles? Someone was telling me, sorry, that's the new police cars.
Oh.
Transmissions, yeah.
Yeah, similar situation. It's just
Right,
the quality of manufacture.
Yep, you have a question?
You're ready.
No, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Continuing on the subject, do the trucks generally break down over time based on the amount of use or the amount of years, or both?
So through the chair to the counselor, right now we're finding is the newer trucks are breaking down, and it's poor quality craftsmanship.
So if
for
I may
lack of
ask-
a better term.
If I may follow up with another question, is it worth looking into older equipment that may be usable, that's built better, or is it still preferred the newer equipment that doesn't seem to be built as well? I guess it's the chicken and the egg question.
Correct. Through the chair, we had a meeting with a CEO of a manufacturing company, and he let us know in that meeting that we should expect 6 months of problems with every truck, and then we should get 7 to 10 good years out of it, and then we should expect problems again. And that was his recommendation for why our trucks were
Okay.
not.
Oh, wow.
If I may, through the chair to the councilor too, in the past with the older trucks, the parts were available through the lifespan of the truck, and we're talking a lifespan of 30 years. We're finding now that the manufacturers of the parts, and it's not just the fire truck manufacturers, they're purchasing the parts from other places too, and they're not manufacturing them up to 10 years. Never mind that. And these are critical parts that are required for the trucks to operate. It's really a tough position that we are in right now with this.
Sounds it.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, as I was driving by on Foster Street heading to work the other day, I noticed that one of our light poles, sort of relatively new, had one of the outlets missing for the electrical inside. And so I'm sitting there saying, I wonder if when we ordered these, if we ordered a bunch of these things, because they tend to disappear, right? You know, do we do that planning ahead? So when we order a truck, do we know what parts generally have been problematic and?
To the chair, we don't necessarily know. What we're finding now is there's a lot of computer components, modules is what I keep hearing on a daily basis. And we're finding that the electronic components are failing on a regular basis. But you also cannot purchase a truck these days without them. And
Without them, right.
they're going more to the extreme of electronic components over basic levers and pulleys.
Yeah,
Interesting.
And Madam Chair, we do try to keep an inventory of appropriate spare parts, and we try to predict that as best as possible. But in a
Right.
lot of these cases too, just the cost of holding on to the
Right.
inventory when you're not sure whether or not that's the part, it's just it's not practical.
what are other fire departments doing? They're obviously having the same problems. I wonder if there's a,
So I think the fire department, as a fire service, whether through the International Association of Fire Chiefs or the International Association of Firefighters, they're being vocal about these problems, right? I know there was a hearing in Congress, I think 2 weeks ago, where they addressed this. They had three large manufacturers in there to discuss what the problems are. So it's being recognized. I think it's the Federal Trade Commission that they're trying to do some investigations into and whatnot.
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
it is being, I don't want to say it's being addressed, it's being heard at a national level. And so hopefully there'll be some action taking place.
Ask another question when you're ready.
you have another question?
Yeah,
Go
when
ahead.
you're ready. Through the chair, to either of you. I'm assuming these new vehicles come with warranties. What kind of warranties do they come with, and what does it cover?
Sure, through the chair, they have about 2-year warranties on them, bumper to bumper. But that, we're finding the problems we get, and we're trying to work on this on the side with our dealers and manufacturers, is 2 years doesn't mean a lot if a truck has been out of service for the first 6 months of its life with a transmission issue. We don't actually get the full 2 years of the warranty. But most trucks that we're finding are coming with 2 years of warranty.
So it's out of, if I may, through the chair, So the out of service of the vehicle is counted towards the warranty. Seems to me that.
We believe so, but we're working with the
Because,
law department.
because like the lemon law, for example,
Right.
you don't, the car's out of service.
That should be able to be applied.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
we're working with the law
I
department.
mean, it would be great to see some state or national legislation that says that when the truck's off the road because of a problem, you can't benefit as a manufacturer by saying, oh, 2 years is over. That seems unfair.
Right, I agreed through the chair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would think that also too, in writing specs for new equipment, you know, that could be possibly be included in that too.
Yeah, to the chair, they are willing to sell longer warranties for
Yeah.
a large amount of money.
Oh, boy. Do you have questions, Counselor?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. To the chair, I guess anyone can answer this. When it comes to communication during emergencies, you guys go to about 38,000, right, calls per year, just about, probably this past year. How do you guys handle communication, since you guys are first on the site, if people aren't speaking English? Like, how do we address those concerns?
Through the chair to the counselor, right now, it depends on the crew. So we do have more and more crews that speak other languages, right? And so that's always helpful if there's a member of the crew that speaks another language and it's the right language for that call. But generally, it's usually first responder related stuff. That's the majority of the calls that we're going on. And we're able to usually manage and communicate with the person just based off of how they're presenting in a general calm manner. And more often than not, we've found that there's usually a translator available, whether it be a school child or someone else in the family that is able to communicate with us. So that's the main way that we're communicating with them right now.
So someone on the spot. So if there's no one there, there's 2, 3 individuals that there's an emergency, car accident, whatever it may be, no one speaks the language, what are we doing?
That's correct. So, and through the chair, currently we have, when we respond to an accident like that, obviously, or an incident, it's our job to mitigate the incident. So what we're looking for are the visual cues of what is wrong. We currently have laminated cards in every apparatus that members of the public can point to try and, our main focus is to not decide whose fault the incident is, but what's the current issue and how do we fix it immediately? Do we, and candidly, it can be difficult at times, but typically, I think that the main issue somebody is having, the main concern or medical issue
Right.
can be identified just based on our training and what other calls we've been on, that this looks like the same.
So to that end, we have you have access to the language line, right?
Through the chair, it's difficult to use on the calls because of the devices that we do not have department devices in every
Okay.
apparatus that can do that. But the ambulance services also do have access to HIPAA compliant language lines. And so once they arrive on scene, if necessary, they can use those devices.
So I knew body cams, we just were told that they can interpret and communicate up to 50 languages. And I'm wondering, is that where you were going?
Yeah, well, I'm just concerned. I mean, there's a lot of neighborhoods in our city that, predominantly speak, other languages other than English. And if there are 38,000 calls or more and they're going to these calls, I just want to make sure if it's a medical issue, it could be a parent that doesn't understand the language, and then you're asking if they're on medications, and they can't explain that to you, and you're trying to get an idea from, visual cues. Visual cues can only give you so much, right? So that just was concerning to me. Looking around here, I didn't see anything about communication. So I just wanted to make sure, we brought that up.
That was a good point. So maybe through a chairman's order, we can do some research into, other options for communication in different languages, maybe with their next set of radios, or planning for that, or even maybe, yeah, best practices, but also, what other fire departments in New York City and Boston and, other urban centers, what are they doing for the same thing?
Sure. Madam Chair, I think the council has a very valid concern, and
Yeah.
we
Good point.
we will research and provide a report.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, that's good, thank you.
Next question for me, it's, we had talked about outreach,
Yes.
and I just wanted to know if you, based on, similar to what we're talking about now with communication, have you been able to look into different areas of outreach or where you plan on having, some of the seminars and understanding what it is to become a firefighter and things like that? I know you've had several locations in the city, but have you been able to look into throughout the city and expand that? I mean, because that definitely would help with the communication part as well.
Through the chair of the council, we have not been able to expand that yet. We do, through our training division, participate in many employment fairs and seminars and stuff like that. Like we spoke earlier about the civil service events. We always try to do at least 2 open houses for that. We try to do an annual visitation of high school seniors to the fire ground during the drill school so that they can see those things in action. But we've really, and kind of related to the report that we provided tonight, we have really concentrated very heavily on our operations and very intentionally because that's where we needed to do some immediate interventions in our department. And yes, to a little bit of expense of our outreach and education services, we hope that we can move forward with some new plans to do a better job with that and have a higher outreach. And as I alluded to the chairwoman earlier, we're working on some plans of different things that we may be able to do to have a farther reach.
Do we have a, to the chair, do we have a diversity committee?
Through the chair of the council, we do not.
Did we have one in the past?
We did.
Okay. Is there a reason why we don't have one now? Is it like a funding issue or?
No, they disbanded.
I'm sorry.
They disbanded.
They disbanded? Can
Yes.
you elaborate a little bit more on what that means to me?
I
don't understand what that
cannot,
means. Elaborate.
they disbanded their group.
I'm confused. They disbanded.
The diversity committee
Okay.
determined that they would disband.
So the diversity committee, was this a diversity committee for expansion of employees?
It was for employees.
Yeah.
Correct.
okay. And not just
Not for the-
communication to the public?
No, they did do some
They
recruiting.
did do some?
They did recruiting.
They did do some recruiting, but also communication to the public, which was what we were talking about a little bit before. So is that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
to the
so
public.
That ties in. So how long ago have they disbanded?
Through the chair, it was probably 2 years ago now.
2 years? Okay.
Through the chair, there were a couple of events planned, and they said they were not doing them.
Okay. And do we know why?
We were not told why.
Okay. All right, well, that leads me to ask about more public education. As we know, winter's coming, and District 4 seems to get hit quite often with some fires, unfortunately, and heating seems to be a problem. What do we do? How do we let residents know what are the proper ways to heat your home other than using your stove, other than using a small heater that could possibly be a faulty heater, or making sure, property owners are making sure their residents aren't using floor heaters or keeping them away from the beds and stuff. What kind of communication are we getting out to these residents to prepare for this type of stuff?
Through the chair to the counselor, our public education office gets out into the community as they can. As I said, that we are in transition, so we have a new public education lieutenant who's been on the job for 2 days now, I think. So obviously, it's going to take him some time to get up to speed. We expect that he will transfer out of there in January at his first opportunity that he is able to, and then we will be in transition again. So that's why I'm promising to come back with some plans or some
Yeah.
proposals of how we can do better with that.
So someone's in position and then they, for however long, they just transfer out. So there's no one that's dedicated for just public education.
We have a dedicated lieutenant spot, but through union bidding rules, they can bid by seniority. And so what generally has been happening is as a spot opens up, that person bids out of that spot.
Through the chair to the councilor, it's a very difficult position to fill in the fire department because we have a very young department and they want to be, our members want to be on the fire truck responding to the 911 calls as opposed to in the schools.
So does it necessarily have to be someone from the fire department?
It's
Can
a
it be-
funded lieutenant position, so it does, based on our
Is there
union
any way we
contract
can-
and,
Sorry to cut you off, go ahead, I'm sorry.
nope, based on our union contract and the funding of the position. It's a fire lieutenant position.
So is there a way we could think outside the box other than, maybe finding better ways to continue? Because if that person continues just to leave that position over and over again, it's useless.
Agreed,
At the
through
end
the
of
chair, this is one of the things we lose sleep over, I would say.
Right.
And we.
And I get it has to be a certain type of position, but while we work on that, is there a way to find where someone can come in and provide that information for us? And
Yeah.
maybe it's something on us as counselors to say, for the city manager, to put something on the budget where it says, if this position is just gonna be continue going through and not being really fulfilled, or even all this information that's very important, getting this information out there, it's going by the wayside.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
failing
this
our
is-
residents at the end of the day.
This is very new from my understanding, because he had a longstanding person, Anne Marie Pickett, who was, I don't know if she could ever be replaced with what she did, but just
And how long ago did she leave?
a couple of years ago, was it three?
No.
Maybe 3 years ago?
Through the chair of the council, probably 2018, 2019,
Oh, wow, that long?
that long.
Tempest
But then another
future.
long-term
So-
lieutenant took it, for
Right.
a fairly long period of time, and
So-
now we're into this new period. But Counselor, if it's, I would like to provide a proposal
Report.
coming up.
Yeah.
To address some of the concerns. And in the meantime, we can work with the city manager's communication team to at least use their communication methods to get some of these messages out to the community. And importantly, one of the important parts that we really do it is through our operations division when they are on scene. So if they get into these apartments through first responders, they take that opportunity to educate, number one. Number two is through the fire prevention office when they're in these buildings doing, whether it be a regular inspection, be a complaint from a resident or from a fire company, they come in and we try to educate first, then enforce if we need to. And the other part of this is our engineering division in the fire prevention is we try to address these things up front so that the codes are in place and that the building is protected right from the beginning
I was-
in the best way possible.
I was going to mention that inspectional services as well.
Right.
co-
The rental
hand in hand.
registry is,
Right.
he works hand in hand with this too.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we can get something tonight, I don't know if it's a chairman's order or something to the city manager saying, again, winter is coming, and if these positions are not filled, and it's been close to 6 years now, we're doing no justice to our residents if we're not getting them this information that should be out there to them.
So there's a lot of information that has been given to the school department over the years, and I'm sure that that's already in place. And so maybe reviewing what's already out there without having to reinvent the wheel so we can get it out quickly.
But I'm not just saying
Yeah.
just the school department.
No,
We gotta-
the whole community, and I get that. So that would be like reaching out to places that they don't normally go to, like the churches, right? Because a lot of times, our new immigrants, that's their focus, and,
So when you say the school department, again, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get this all under control, under my head.
yeah.
How was that information given out to the school department? I had reached out, I was hoping to get a schedule of understanding, when you're in the schools, what schools you guys are going to, what information you're giving out, what grades.
Right, so I believe it was grades 3 through 6, was it, that we tried to,
And the 10th.
in the 10th grade. as of last year, we had made pretty good progress. We're having some staffing problems out there now, so it's going to be a little bit of a trouble this year getting to that. But the educator would actually go to the classroom, do mini lessons with the students.
So it sounds like we're in the same situation again, where staffing is an issue and getting information out, and the schools probably haven't been receiving as much information as we want them to.
Not as much, but I don't want to. We are out there. We are making contact. It's just not what either of us would like
Can you
to.
get a report on that, on like what schools you guys have gone to in the past 2
Absolutely.
years?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do a chairman's order on that, and that should be included in that plan report of what you want to do.
Through the chair, to the counselor, I just want to clarify, because it sounds like maybe a misunderstanding, that position has not been open since 2019. It has not been open for 6 years. It was just the lieutenant they
recent.
were referring to.
No, I understand, but we've
Okay.
had that issue,
Yeah, we
like
had
where
pretty-
someone
we
hasn't
were-
been.
We were pretty stable until just recently.
Okay.
We had a long-term person in after the lieutenant they were
Yeah.
referring to left.
Mhm.
And then that person left, and that's when it started to become.
Right, right. Okay.
So probably 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
But I know you do a very good job. Well, I've seen the communication come out. I've also seen social media. You know, I always repost a lot of that stuff too, so I know you've seen that as well, so. But I think the council makes some good comments, and especially with the different languages.
Absolutely.
I think that's, and knowing that the technology is there, you know, through the body cams, is it Axon, I think. What do you use for your communication devices?
Motorola.
Motorola, okay. I would wonder if they had the ability to do
Yeah,
that too,
we will look into all of this.
the software to be able to upgrade that. That'd be
Mhm.
great, yeah. All right, so a chairman's order on that, AJ?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Anything else? Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And thank you again for the hard work that you all did last night. Go home and get some rest.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
So-
I want to say I was there last night, just to see the work that they put in and the true commitment and, you know, the skills and the training obviously was put forward and the team effort. I think it was really good to see. You know, I was there till about 12:30 last night or this morning. The only thing I want to say is if we can probably look into helping make sure we keep the residents. I mean, they're all up there close. I was myself as well, but just because the water was shooting over, and those are things they're not expecting. I know you guys you're always used to it, so just be mindful of that. That's all. But it was really good to see the team effort that you saw there with every individual. So thank you.
I also want to point out, congratulate or thank Box 4 for their work at that event as well. Their Box 4 is a voluntary led group of mostly former firefighters, retirees, and some volunteers. I know I helped start that group before, and it's all of the materials, coffee and all of that stuff, it's all donated. People give, it's great. There's a bathroom on the vehicle, you know, if there's no place for them to go. It's warm coffee and cocoa and food if they need it, if they're there a long time. So great job, but it's helpful for your staff too. So
Thank you.
they appreciate both of you and all of the men and women of the fire department. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we're going to accept and file. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. And finally, last but not least, because you're integral in all of the conversations that we had. So I want to call Robert Conley, Director of Emergency Management, up. Thank you. And this is 5, communication to the city manager, emergency communications and management, transmitting informational communication relative to the municipality's tornado response, which we recently had. So do you want to go over the report? Yep. Yep.
Events. We had 3 mass gatherings.
Yep.
I apologize.
That's okay.
We had 3 mass gatherings, the Pride Festival, Breakaway Festival, and then a well-attended Polar Park game. This was recognized about a month prior to the 3 events by the police department as a complex event requiring a more tightly coordinated unified response from the city. So I was requested by the police department to stand up a unified command center and an emergency action plan or an event action plan to tightly coordinate the event. All of those events, they have a strong strain on resources, especially ambulances. So over that month, we planned with police, fire, EMS, public health, the weather service, and the state to make sure that we deployed resources effectively, and then also deployed the Worcester Unified Command Center, which was new this year, to the event to support Pride. In the days coming to the event, we noticed that the severe weather event was going to be passing over the city, so we continued to tightly track that, engage our contracted meteorologists and the National Weather Service. And the day of the event, one of the first actions of Unified Command was to brief the Pride Festival on the risks and hazards associated with the weather, provide them our recommendations, and just continue to coordinate with all those separate events throughout the day. Unfortunately, we did have to pull the trigger and issue a wireless emergency alert to notify the public of the hazard of the severe rainstorm, and we did have to cancel the event early. But on the bright side was, because we pulled that trigger so early, because we notified the public so early, we avoided, I don't want to say catastrophe, but we avoided massive injury, mass casualty events. The biggest loss of that day was the financial impact of the contracted VIP. But it was a success that day. It was a success when the police notified us and said we need to stand up Unified Command. It was a success when we sent out that wireless emergency alert. And just really proud of the efforts of police, fire, EMS, public health, the hospitals, everyone, including the city manager's office, who we had to activate while they were at home and have them help us get the alert out to the public. And it's, yes.
Could you just, for the public, kind of tell us what's in the Unified, what comprises the Unified Command Center?
Absolutely. I'm really proud of that. That was one of our first large grant projects that we did in the past few years. We had a older trailer that had gone unused for many years. So we used some of our limited grant funding that we get from FEMA every year, and we repurposed that trailer. We went to police, fire, EMS, even the school department, and we said, if you have a large event, what do you need to see? What resources do you need? So we turned that trailer into, it has heat, air conditioning, it has multiple workstations, a camera on it, very modern networking equipment, lighting systems, more than I'm probably forgetting, but all to support a complex event requiring tight, unified coordination. So that trailer is available to any city department for any emergency. Try to make it available 24/7 to support those complex events, whether that's a water main break, a dam emergency, or a massive public gathering.
Okay. Thank you for doing that. So, storm impacts, could you talk about that?
Absolutely. So as the storm reached Worcester, we received notifications on our phone. We saw social media reports, and we saw entries from the Massachusetts Emergency Management Information System that tornadoes were seen reported in the area. In that moment when we're on the ground, we're getting poured on, and we don't know the exacts of what's going on, we made a decision to take it as the worst possible scenario, activate the physical Worcester EOC up on Coppage Drive, and relocate our assets. And then at that moment, everyone dispersed. Police, fire, EMS, we all had essentially our marching orders, and we took the actions that we know to take to continue to assess the impacts, support first responders, and then include DPW while we worked to figure out what really was happening.
Here it says within 40 minutes, you were able to connect with all those departments.
Yes. So
Is that a standard time? Was that good? Can we improve on it? Or?
Truthfully, I think, to the chair, to the council, I think that's great. These plans aren't activated very often, thankfully. But with the Worcester EOC, our function is to collect, verify, and disseminate information. So within 40 minutes, while we're truly sopping wet, still trying to figure out what was going on, we were able to set up multiple lines of effort, connect with National Grid, our hospitals, police, fire, EMS, public health, Department of Public Works, everyone, and figure out what were they dealing with, what their concern is, what their concerns aren't. That's difficult to do most days, but to do it in the middle of such a severe storm, I think was a testament to the close coordination of public safety and public health, public works.
That's great. And so, in your debriefing, was there anything that you felt you could have done differently, or?
I think next time we should have done the EOC maybe in this building, stayed a little bit more dry, but honestly, it's a lot of I think it went better than we thought it was going to go. There was a lot of successes there. I think I can nitpick, but it went really well for plans that haven't been activated so frequently, so often, so recently. Maybe making the phone tree a little bit easier, but then again, that's just me nitpicking. It went really well.
I actually filed an order requesting a report. I don't remember the exact terms, but just basically, are we practicing for these types of things, as often as we need to, right?
Yeah, I can speak to that if you'd like.
Yeah.
So September is National Preparedness Month, October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. We've been meeting with IT and the state. We're actually going to do an exercise with pretty much, I think, most city departments in December. That is a workshop to go over our comprehensive emergency management plan, our cyber incident response plan, and then in the spring we're going to do a more in-depth exercise, and then we're actually going to restart the yearly citywide exercise to make sure that not only do all the departments know how to operate and prepare for disaster, but how do we interact with our other stakeholders, so the Red Cross, Salvation Army, Team Rubicon, National Grid, Eversource,
Right.
et cetera.
Yeah, I actually remember participating in an exercise, I think it was at the DCU, and I died.
Yeah.
I didn't
We'll
have
invite you
much
then. We'll
fun.
get you an invite.
All right. But it was really incredible to see everybody working together, and, you could tell that it's well-written plans, and nice to see the structure. Counselor?
Yeah, I'm looking at the clock, so thank you, Madam Chair, for recognizing me. So I'm trying to get a couple very quick questions through the chair. Have we determined what percentage of our population in an emergency like that might not know because cell phones might not be on, television, radio?
Through the chair to the council. That's tough to answer. The systems, how we alert the public, they're designed to reach every communication channel possible. So TVs, phones, radio, billboards at some point. I mean, we try the best, but I can't say that we have a determination of who can't.
Well, the reason why I'm asking, I think you guys did an excellent job, guys and girls, did an excellent job, is that I brought this up before to prior council meetings. Some of the communities around us, smaller, but nevertheless near us, use sirens for these types of emergencies, where they design a siren in different districts, quadrants, whatever you want to call it, of their community, and then if there's an emergency like this, the sirens go off where it's virtually impossible not to know there's something big and dangerous happening. So I'm wondering if we've ever given any thought to that, because I can envision somebody in their house, maybe sleeping, or they have the TV off, they have their phone recharging, and although thankfully we don't have a lot of actual tornadoes that go beyond F1s or less, we've had one historically that took a lot of lives. So any thoughts on that?
Yes, and I think that's a great point. I think from what I've heard historically, there was a siren at some point. This was many years ago, prior to my time here. In our hazard mitigation plan, which was just recently adopted and approved by the federal government, we have one of the action strategies is to look at public sirens. I think they've been falling by the wayside these past few decades because everyone's been focusing on the phones.
Good.
But we're seeing now in recent disasters, Hawaii and all the Tornado Alley, we're seeing the value of sirens and appropriately placed and used sirens. And it is something that we're interested in, but it's a matter of funding and planning. But it is something that we consider.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do you have any questions?
No, just thank you. I was able to go inside at National Night Out, and it's great to see you're what you envisioned to come to fruition, and I appreciate it, and I love the work that you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and we're going to accept and file. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Thank you. That concludes the Public Safety Committee meeting. Thank you. Thank you very much.